Good afternoon. Welcome ulit sa webinar series ng Searchworks. Actually, parang medyo interchangeable na webinar podcast yung tinatawag namin. Pero alam nyo na yon. Um, for most of you who listen to us, ang usual na topics namin is related to digital marketing, specifically sa SEO kasi yun naman talaga kami. We're an SEO agency. Although from time to time we talk about business topics pero mostly related sa search. This week, medyo ibang flavor yung podcast slash webinar natin since yung guest natin today is not from the SEO industry per se. More of, BPO slash call center type yung arrangement nila. Although I invited her to join us in one of our sessions kasi si Marge, she's been my acquaintance for a while now through Sir Jun. Sir Jun has been in this webinar before sa PPC related naman. Like Jun and I go way back, digital marketing friends. And then Sir Jun's cousin happens to be the husband of Marge and doon siya na-involve sa business ng BPO. So kami ni Marge, like from time to time, may mga Q&A kami niyan about business either sa comments or sa tawag dito sa messenger. Pero like after the last session that I had with Chase, which was about the SEO business during 2020, Marge was one of the people who listened in, and we had a follow-up conversation about that. So kind of evolved, and then I told her, parang maraming magandang insights na pwedeng ma-produce tong usapan na to. Maybe other people can also benefit just by listening to us talk about these things, especially as business owners. We are privy to information and situations that many employees are not, do not have visibility on. So to kind of take you behind the scenes on the chair of a CEO, I decided to put together this, kumbaga parang listening session kung paano magtanungan yung mga CEO from one business owner to another. Like I don't mean that in like mayabang way, like more on paano ba maging mag-iyakan yung mga CEO sa isa't isa. Ng mga pinagdadaanan nila yung session na to. So ayun, without further ado, I want to introduce our guest this afternoon, si Marge Aviso. She is the founder and CEO of Telework.ph. Telework.ph, if you have not heard of it yet, they're a local call center built, founded and built by a team of Filipinos. They operate from Baliwag, Bulacan. Tama, di ba, Marge?
Tama. Pero correct ko lang yung teleworkph.com siya. Teleworkph. Sorry,
teleworkph.com.
OC.
Okay, no problem. So, ayun, medyo bata pa yung call center nila. Like, 2 years old pa lang siya. Pero very remarkable yung rise niya since within the span of those 2 years, umabot na sila ng 400 call center agents, which is very impressive as far as I'm concerned kasi dito sa marketing services 7 years na kami, nasa 30 more or less lang yung mga tao sa office at any given time, although of course these are two very different businesses, but still providing livelihood opportunities to 400 people is no mean feat. So today we're going to talk about exactly that. So Marge, do you want to tell people about yourself and your company?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Nung in-invite mo ako, parang napaisip pa ako, am I really worth it to be in here? Knowing Sir Glenn is the man talaga when it comes to SEO. So thank you so much. And as well as yung mga umattend, so sobrang, oh my God, 16 people. And I know a couple of them. Alvin, hello. Sorry, naging parang talk show na. So anyway, my name is Marge, and I started as a freelancer. In 2012, I believe yun talagang nag-freelance ako. And the very reason na freelance ako is because of my family. Ayan, okay. So may nag-pop up. Because of my family, I'm a very family-centered, oriented individual. And parang para sa akin, money can follow na lang later eh. Basta I'm with my family, I'm comfortable and all that. It was in 2015 when we got this client who trusted me enough to build a team. So I started with about 3 people and then naging 7, naging 15, naging 22, ganyan. And by the time na we are about 30 people in the team, dun saktong timing din naman na na-acquire yung client na yon. And this client is in the sports industry space. SaaS din sila. Na-acquire sila, and with the acquisition, of course, you can expect na maraming changes, maraming unexpected things. And I'm grateful na even if we are an outsourced team or an independent contractor, hindi kami nilet go because syempre we bring cost savings, and as well as yun nga, we bring a lot of value to the team. Pero naging challenge siya kasi the COO came up to me and said na one of the complaints of the customers are roosters crowing in the background, children crying in the background. So the pains of working from home talaga. And then at that time, medyo nararamdaman ko na kasi syempre when you're working closely with the client, alam mo naman yung you can almost always predict steps ahead kung ano yung pwedeng mangyari. Nararamdaman ko na yes, sasabihin nila na you have to do something about this. And I was given 2 choices: to continue and continue earning income, or we just lose all our jobs. So take note, I said jobs talaga kasi at that time wala akong interest mag-business at that time. Hindi ko siya naiisip na maging BPO talaga. Never in my life na na-imagine ko, sobrang stressful kasi my mom was also in go ahead.
Marge, when you started with those 7 people and then lumaki na konti, are these all customer service positions like call center type?
Tech support, to be specific.
So just to go back a little bit before you go on to that point, I did a little bit of research about you. Wag kang mag-alala, LinkedIn lang naman to. Wala naman stalkan. So I checked your background. It turns out nurse ka, di ba? Like you were a trained nurse. So paano umabot sa pag-freelance? Like nag-nurse ka muna ba and then lumipat ka sa BPO industry?
Oo. So, nurse nga ako by profession at 19 or 20, 19 turning 20 years old. Nag-take ako ng board exam, buntis ako. Siguro mapusok, ganyan. Talagang maraming rebelde type of person. So I was forced to really find a job kasi meron na akong sinusuportahan na bata. So when I applied for jobs as a nurse, 6,000 pesos a month in a private facility. Tapos pagka magpa-public facility ka, kailangan ka pang mag-render ng ilang months, parang on the job training. Alam ko may mga nakaka-relate, siguro may mga nurse tayo dito. Pero ganun yung situation and it's just not feasible for me kasi I have a family to raise. So sabi ko, sige mag-PPO na lang ako. So I worked in Manila. From Bulacan, I went to Manila. And then 2 years I was switching companies. Tapos I wasn't really, it turns out talaga, and I realized later, hindi talaga ako employable. Hindi talaga ako yung tipo ng tao na mangangamuhan. And so I really nung with all what's happening, and then do sa my first partner ko, for 7 years kasi it didn't work out. Ang daming realization. Parang yun yung rock bottom moment ko talaga na we had to separate ways. Tapos ang hirap ng buhay, ganyan. And then we're young and wild and all that.
Young and wild and free.
Oo. And we had to find ways. Kanta.
Sige.
And we had to find ways para to make ends meet. So after that, nag-work ako sa call center. Sabi ko, I guess this is not for me. Pero nandun na ako sa point na napopromote na, ganyan-ganyan. Pero he's still not happy with everything that's going. And so, pinagsabay ko, nag-work ako sa BPO and at the same time, nag-freelance ako sa bahay. Tapos sabi ko, viable pala to. I can do this from home. So it was 2012 na actually, tinuloy-tuloy ko na.
So,
And
how was a
then,
typical day then? Like, uwian ka from Metro Manila and then you'll do probably a few hours of freelance call center work?
I know, so ang ginagawa ko, every week ako umuuwi. Kaya one of
Ah,
my pains din at that time is yung anak ko, hindi masyadong close sa akin and I can't be a parent to my eldest son kasi like my mother-in-law would be in charge of her, I mean him. Tapos yung mga rules ko as a parent hindi na enforce kasi nga I wasn't there. So ang daming naging like yung ngipin niya nabubulok dahil hindi napapabayaan yung mga ganun. So sabi ko, hindi ako nagiging magulang. This is not the life that I signed up for. Talagang there must be something to do here. Parang I need to do something talaga. And
you know,
then
yung,
the freelance.
you bring up an interesting point, like just to share with people here who might be thinking about putting up their own businesses someday. Ang isang common question kasi sa mga sa mga medyo naka-establish na like you or me ng business na kahit papaano may momentum na, like how did you know it was time to start your own business? And sometimes you don't really know it. It just happens na out of necessity, like si Marge alluded to it na she wanted to be more of a parent to her child. Medyo similar yung sa akin. Naalala ko lang kasi when I was working for Emerson, this was a pretty decent job. Like Marge, medyo may pagka unemployable ako, pero tingin ko mas employable ako kesa kay Marge kasi umabot naman ako sa pagiging manager. So ibig sabihin medyo matino naman akong tao. Pero wala akong trabahong tumagal ng more than 2 years. Whether it was going good or going bad, after 2 years parang naiinip na talaga ako. Usually 18 months out na ako sa isang trabaho. Either nainip ako or meron na akong hindi nagustuhan or some other thing. Pero pag titingnan niyo yung LinkedIn ko, pinakamatagal ko ng trabaho was 2 years. And kind of the point where I decided na magnenegosyo na ako was ang routine kasi namin noon ng wife ko is after church ng Sunday, ihatid na niya ako sa terminal ng papuntang Manila. Like you, Marge, lumuluwas din ako an entire week and then uuwi ng Friday afternoon. Tapos my child was about 3 years old siguro at the time, yung panganay namin si Sophie. Sabi niya, tinanong niya ako, like very straightforward lang, Papa, why do you always have to leave? Ganon. Like, hindi ko makakalimutan yon. Tapos, kasi super close sa akin yung daughter ko. And then, tawag dito, I think it was the following year na nag-decide ako. Medyo risky kasi lahat ng team members ko nakatira na Metro Manila. Sabi ko, wala akong pakialam kung ako na lang matitira sa kumpanyang to. Uuwi ako ng Pampanga, doon ako magse-set up. Buti na lang, marami sa kanila sumama with the help of some bribery na free food, free staff house. Pero that's kind of how it started, yung full-time na pagninegosyo talaga. Kasi at that time, nagninegosyo ako on the side. Pero may day job pa ako. Pero ayun, just an important thing. Sometimes you don't decide when to become an entrepreneur. Sometimes life decides for you.
Yeah, and that rang true for me kasi ganun yung nangyari. The life decided for me kasi ako gusto ko talaga, pero I know the risk. I know how hard it is kasi yung parents ko they had a grocery parang masari-sari store. So sabi ko talagang nakaka-stress. Ayoko. Okay na ako dito sa freelancer na kumikita ako buwan-buwan. Okay naman talagang parang iisipin mo parang bakit mo ba pinasok to? Dumadating sa ganong punto Pero what happened there, ang term nga ni Jun dun, it's a hostage Kasi ang nangyari, sabi ni client sa akin, either you all lose your jobs or you put up a physical facility. So sabi ko, akala ko noong una, choice yun Either I go that route. So sabi ni Jun, no, it was actually a hostage. Tapos sabi ko, ang importante kasi kung ako lang, walang problema kasi I can have another job after this day. Parang ganun, parang the next day okay na ako ulit. Pero yung mga tao ko, yung 30 people na yun na may mga pamilya pa, sila yung inisip ko kasi talagang, alam mo yun, may employee na may anak na kailangan gamutin due to depression. Maano ka na lang na parang, anong ginagawa mo, Marge? Kailangan mo gawa ng paraan to. Parang ganun yung moment ko nung time na yun Kaya sabi ko, sige, pikit mata, tapos umiiyak ako sa asawa ko. Sabi ko, tulungan mo ko kasi hindi ko kaya mag-decide. So, fortunately, with all the savings nung 2012 since freelancer pa ako, that's about 2.5 M. I risked it all. I risked it all to put up a physical facility. Talagang, sige, buhos na to. Parang sige, I'll give it my all. Tapos, in the early stage of the BPO, wala rin akong idea or wala akong business background and wala rin akong intention to grow it bigger to how it is now. Pero I know I have a problem. I cannot do it alone. And so that's when, naalala ko pa, it's clear in my head. Parang what do you call this, sabbatical? Nag-sabbatical kami sa bundok. And Lynn and John, they are from Negros kasi eh. So we were in Negros at that time. Tapos parang casual usapan lang talaga about our business and all that. Tapos may na-forge ng partnership in there. Tapos naisip ko rin kasi, June has a great strength in marketing. I have a strength in operations. Lynn has a strength in technology or IT. So sabi ko, I think this is going to be a good partnership. Kasi when you first look for your founders, that's definitely kung ano yung weak side mo para ma-complement. So, ganon. And then, sabi namin, ito, nagiging joke talaga eh. Lagi namin sinasabi, akala natin, parang 100, ang goal lang natin, 100 people by December, 50 people by December. Tapos, na-exceed namin to 100 people. Talagang parang we are in no choice but to continue growing it. Kasi it's growing and growing every single year.
March, ilan mo kayo, right now?
Right now, 757 to be specific.
Dear God. Like, sobrang outdated na pala nung alam kong 400 kayo.
Oo, sa website, oo.
Right now, nasa Baliwag lahat yung mga employees.
Right now, ang mga office base, yes. Tapos 50% nun is remote.
I see. Etong question ko regarding that, like for people like us who moved there, you started the business nasa Baliwag na. I moved it from Metro Manila to Pampanga. So one of my concerns at the time was finding qualified people kasi we all know the highest concentration of talent and experience pagdating sa mga klase ng jobs na to is nasa Metro Manila. So were there any fears or hesitation na baka mahirapan sa recruitment? Obviously, nag-workout para sa inyo. Pero nagsisimula, were there concerns na baka mahirapan kayo sa recruitment in the province?
Definitely, it's a valid concern. Actually, maraming nagsabi na bakit sa Bulacan? Bakit hindi sa ganyan? Hindi sa Manila or hindi sa... So I did my feasibility study and as well as ako in INFP kasi ako parang na-master ko na yung instinct ko na minsan actually 90% of the time, I'm correct. Pero nung nasa growth stage na kami ng business, doon ko na-realize na it's not going to help na mag-rely sa instinct. So anyway, back to my original story na naghahanap kami ng place. Sabi ko kasi, if everyone else is doing it, parang nasa Manila, there must be a way para umangat ka. Alam mo yun, maiba ka dun sa competition. And true enough, I asked around and I also see this happening for me kasi I'm from Bulacan, tapos nagta-travel ako sa Manila. Grabe yung traffic. 4 hours papunta, 4 hours pabalik. Ubos ang oras, and time is money, right? So talagang yun yung pinaka-pain point ko. And then I asked around, sabi ko, Bulacan, strategically, it's the closest province north of Manila. It's like parang Cavite, ganyan. Tapos sabi ko, Cavite is booming right now when it comes to BPO. Ang daming BPO sa Cavite at that time nung inaaral ko siya. Sabi ko, so why not dito sa Bulacan? Parang, sige, let's take that chance. Tapos at that time din, may program yung DICT, which is yung Digital Jobs PH. They empower people in the rural area to, provide digital services or digital opportunities. And then at that time, parang sobrang, and I also knew about this kay June. So parang at that time, tamang-tama yung opportunity na ginagawa ng government to reach out dun sa mga far-flung areas. Tapos dun sa strategic position namin, kasi nagiging trainer ako ng mga within Bulacan eh. Ako yung trainer ng VAs, ng digital marketing within Bulacan. And they're using our office. So bukod sa merong back ng government, meron din tayo yung hearsay na, oy, may BPO sa Bulacan. And nakakatawa nga kasi parang, oh, talaga, may BPO na sa Bulacan, ganun yung reaction. Oh, galing, buti meron na dito, ganyan. Tapos lahat ng mga employees namin share the same sentiment na ayaw na nilang bumalik na Manila, lalo na ngayong pandemic.
Alam mo, meron weird na thing about sa mga taga Bulacan, and John from my team can attest to that. Parang mahilig kayong pintasan yung sarili nyong probinsya. Hindi ko alam kung bakit.
Kasi naman yung mga daan doon, binubutas nila, maayos naman. Kaya tuloy naging lubakan yung...
Yeah,
to be fair, hindi lang sa inyo nangyayari yan, pati dito. Anyway, sige. Let's proceed to the next question. So you mentioned, yun nga, nasa 757 na kayo ngayon. Ano yung types of clients nyo and how many clients do you handle? Usually, ano yung mga industries nila?
We have a wide range of clients. We have, parang I would say 70% of our clients make up the SaaS space. And then we have yung mga property, loans, course creators, coaches. Meron kaming, pero yeah, the bigger bulk of our clients talaga nasa technology industry.
Okay. So, itong mga, kunyari, nasa SaaS sila, medyo technical ng konti, who trains them? Kayo ba? Or is it someone from the side of the client? Mukhang mga specialized na industries to eh.
Yes. Oh, it's initially the side of the client, and then someone will be trained or honed into becoming a trainer specific to that product. We call it product or account or client, ganyan. And then that person goes on duplicating and replicating whatever was taught.
Okay. Without giving away any trade secrets, so in a span of more than a year lang, from 400 nasa almost 800 na kayo. What drives business to your BPO? Like, may marketing campaigns ba kayong niraran? Is it more of referrals? How do you get your leads? Without giving it away to potential competitors, of course.
The thing kasi with BPOs, ang haba ng sales cycle, ang haba ng nourishing, ang haba na kasi B2B. I mean, I think that's completely understandable. Pero at the same time, tao pa rin naman yung kausap natin. So it's not different with how you are marketing with other businesses. Pero what we found, we found we did some testings. We found na hindi nagwo-work sa amin ng email outreach or cold email. I guess siguro kasi halos lahat ng business they're doing that yung cold email outreach. What we found effective is a combination of ads. We found effective as yung LinkedIn outreach, yung talagang very specific yung audience. And that's how we are si Jun, kasi he's primarily the guy behind all these. He crafted a story type of marketing. Talagang he leaves the what do you call this, the potential client hanging with what's on the content or what's on the blog para mag-click pa siya into more. And then dun sa content, within the content namin, of course, we do a little soft nudge na, we do outsourcing, ganyan.
I think that's very important, especially for people in this Google Meet na SEO yung background, kasi ang isa sa mga blind spot ng mga SEO and marketers in general is we are so focused on traffic and pushing people to landing pages that we almost expect na pag nakuha mo na yung organic traffic na yan, magpa-follow na yung leads. Pero one of the things that a lot of seasoned marketers do is yung storytelling na yon. As you said, Marge, tao pa rin naman yung mga yan. Like, hindi dahil na drive mo sa page mo, ibig sabihin magko-convert na. Minsan gusto nila medyo may pa-feel good ng konti, or feeling nila meron konting social responsibility na nangyayari dahil sa actions nila. Alam mo yon, yung hindi pure business, dapat meron parang added benefits sa kanila. So something to think about for business people and marketers here na sometimes marketing is only part, traffic is only part of marketing efforts. How you treat and how you anticipate the psychology behind the sales cycle is also super important. So let's go back a little bit about yung growth ninyo. Sa 2 years na to, na medyo remarkable talaga yung growth. Actually, tingin ko, ang next step mo na dapat i-block voting mo na yung 800 na tao mo, iisa lang boboto nyo para yung mga politiko, malakas na rin kayo sa kanila. Susunod,
Okay. Naging joke.
Magkokonsehal ka na sa Bulacan. Ako nga, sabi ko, P15 lang kami sa office sa Pampanga, yung rest nasa Manila. Magba-block voting tayo sa barangay para So, what do you think were the 3 biggest factors sa growth ng telework so far?
When you say factors, I would focus more on the revenue kasi yun talaga yung nag-drive. Pero other factors would include culture, market dynamics. We came our business was built at the right time. I would say it was built at the right time. And apart from that, yung culture talaga ng telework is knit tight. And actually, sabi nga ng mga clients, they blew us away kasi with how everyone is treating everyone, walang hatakan pababa. Pero apart from those, yung 3 main drivers or 3 main reasons kung bakit lumaki kami ng ganito kabilis is first yung revenue model namin. It's predictive and recurring. Kasi how I see other service-based business, they would close contracts na parang project and then they would parang milestone yung payment. And kasi hindi siya sustainable. You always think about ways how to make it sustainable and scalable. And there are a lot of ways. Like for example, you can now turn your product into your service into a productized service. You can add digital products to your services, parang bundle siya, or you can package it with the maintenance kasi ang maintenance definitely that's recurring. Parang like sa SEO, 'di ba? You definitely need to ensure na you're maintaining these and content and all that. Apart from that, you can also go white label with other parang partnership with other agency owners. Pero yeah, kami we have a predictive and recurring. Another one is one of the common weak spots, sabi nila, ng service-based business versus products is we are capped on hours kasi we can only do like 24 hours a day to render our service. So paano kung ano na, di ba? Yan, common issue yan with service-based business. That's why we at Telework we did a combination of hourly plus throughput. So merong bayad ang hourly, meron ding bayad ang output-based work. And essentially, when you are a productized service, then you're taking out the limit to how much you can deliver. So parang round the clock, 24 hours, as long as meron na kayong template, meron na kayong ready to sell na klase ng service. And let me be specific kasi baka nalilito yung iba. Have you heard about Design Pickles? Kung narinig nyo na sila, they are a design service pero naka-package siya na $499 per month. You get unlimited designs, unlimited blah blah blah, puro unlimited. Very appealing yung business model niya. And in fact, they're set to grow at $14 million in 2020. Ang group niya, ang employees niya are from Mexico and the Philippines, mga designers. So, very appealing siya sa kasi if you're going to hire an in-house designer, magkano yun, di ba? Ang mahal. Tapos, unless you're a marketing agency, it doesn't make sense na mag-hire ka ng dedicated designer kasi not all the time naman may i-design si designer. At meron ng mga Canva, meron ng mga ganyan, di ba?
Correct.
So, yung business model niya, talagang on the side of the business naman kasi ni Design Pickle, how he is paying these freelancers are for example, isang freelancer, they are catering to 3 clients at a time. And then i-deliver lang nila kung ano yung design, may template na. So napadali yung service fulfillment. At the same time, yung freelancer, yung cost ng 1:3 na ratio, very lucrative kasi ang laki ng mo doon, ng bottom line mo doon.
Actually, medyo interesting yung point na bringing up mo na like medyo retainer/subscription based na services, like imbes na pure project based where it's less predictable. I think it was either in CNBC or The Economist ko nakita na sabi nga nila parang papunta tayo sa future na ang mga produkto at services hindi mo na bibilhin ng piecemeal. Like everything is a $10 a month subscription. Like yung Netflix mo is a $10 a month subscription. Yung games, video games, you no longer buy it per game. Parang ang papunta siya sa either Stadia or sa Xbox Game Pass na where you pay a certain amount per month for a year and then it gives you access to all these games. So it's a very interesting point that you brought up na baka sa services pwede rin pala yan.
Yeah, I do agree. And definitely kasi it's working for us eh. And lastly,
Kasalanan ko ng
number
Netflix eh.
Totoo. And natatawa nga ako kasi I am in this group of parang ClickFunnels group yata siya. And then everyone was like, these subscriptions, these memberships are getting way out of hand. Kasi ultimo, napaka-simpleng bagay, kailangan pa subscription siya. Parang if you remember, I don't know if you're very into like reading Inc. or Wall Street Journal. Lahat yun subscription kahit $1. Pero pag inisip mo, ang daming tao, that's exponential growth.
Exactly. So, ayun. Sorry, were you finishing a point dun sa previous?
Yes.
Me interjecting. Yeah.
All good na. Yung number 3 na lang na factor.
Okay. So, what's the third?
Ayan, the third is ito, hindi ko alam na it's a factor, pero it validated nung nagbabasa ako ng libro, and Elon Musk said something about it. When your revenue comes from people, not products, it's a good thing kasi it's pandemic proof. Common pain point kasi ng mga business owners is to hire the right people at the right job, doing the right roles. And syempre, as the head of the company, that's your single most important job eh. And this is also why we can charge high kasi it's a common pain point na talagang ang hirap kaya mag-manage ng tao.
Correct.
Diba?
Mas mahirap ka sa produkto. Correct.
Exactly. And then yun nga, dun sa article na sinabi ni Elon Musk, yung predictions niya about what businesses could be pandemic proof. He said if your business generates its revenue from people, it's most likely sustainable. Think of Facebook and TikTok. As long as merong humans na nag-opt-in, gustong mag-sign up for this platform, buhay sila kasi they can view ads and all that. And then they can essentially network it to someone else. Kasi meron akong mga business owners na nakita rin na I'm sorry to hear about this. Pero yun nga, yung mga products nila na nasa warehouse, nasunog or nabagyo. So, di ba, alam mo yun, ang daming loss na agad yun eh. I think that's one of the things na contributed to our growth.
Correct. So eto na kayo, 2020 comes in, flashback lang tayo, first 2 months, mukhang okay pa rin, palaki pa rin yung negosyo. And as you said, 2020, despite the pandemic, you guys almost hit 9 figures in revenue, which is like super impressive. When the pandemic happened, like una siyang pumutok around mid-March, tapos nag-announce na ng lockdown, ano yung measures na tinake nyo agad? And how did it affect business nung short term?
Yun. So, nung March, I can clearly remember kasi the very first announcement na magla-lockdown lahat, we knew we had to transition to working from home. Yun na talaga yung immediate namin thinking. Pero ang naging challenge namin is within 3 days, we have to come up with a remote work policy. We have to inform our clients, and then we also have to make a company-wide announcement. So in 3 days talagang naupo kami nung execs, nag-brainstorm kami about it. And then at that time kasi kakapanganak ko pa lang eh. So ang interim CEO at that time, si Jun talaga, siya yung nasa office, and he would tell stories na he can recall yung mga agents, they're accompanied by their parents, tapos kasi mga bata yung workforce namin eh. As in nasa range ng 20 to 30 years old. Accompanied by their parents, nakamotor, hawak yung computer dito yung monitor sa kabilang kamay, tapos nasa kabilang kamay CPU, pauwi sa kanilang mga bahay. Sa sobrang dami ng mga nangyayari, tapos may mga managers na puyat. 24 hours kasi yung operations, and what we're doing is we wait para matapos yung shift nila bago nila iuwi yung computers, and then i-check pa yan ng IT, make sure na kumpleto na ilista, talagang accounted lahat. And then, of course, i-check pa ng IT yung mga bahay kung equipped ba talaga sila with internet, and wala bang mga may pwedeng potential work from home issues. Merong mga agents na kailangan magpakabit at the very last minute. Meron kaming mga kailangan supplyan ng mga globe, what do you call this, internet broadband, mga ganyan. And everyone is, doing a lot of things. It was really humbling na pull off namin yun in yung implementation in 24 hours, lahat back to office, wala kaming downtime, and everyone is kahit puyat, pumasok. So yun yung nangyari nung March.
Was that a big challenge for you, yung internet access ng mga tao?
Ay, oo, kasi dito sa Bulacan, hindi naman siya parang Manila na you can expect everyone to have a decent internet eh. Some of us, wala talagang internet, and we have to hold for a couple of, parang tumagal kami ng 3 days or 5 days na naghahanap talaga ng internet for others. Yung iba, nakikibahay para magkaroon ng internet. Pero kasi, when I compare it and I'm hearing stories dun sa mga BPOs na nasa Manila, how they handled it, sobrang iba. Unang-una, they are still not using web-based or cloud-based tools. So meron pang mga Avaya, yung mga talagang physical machines na kailangan bitbitin with them. And then others have very, very sensitive accounts na kailangan ng HIPAA compliance, yung mga health documentation, ganyan, PCI DSS, mga nanghihingi ng credit card. So ayaw pumayag ng mga clients nila na mag-work from home sila. And lastly, yung nakita ko lang din sa LinkedIn na meron siyang agent na, Manila-based BPO siya, tapos yung agent niya nasa Cavite, ipapauwi sana yung computer, kaso hindi na makatravel kasi nga lockdown na. So, ang laking bagay na yung mga agents nandito lang, a few kilometers away from us. We were able to transition really quickly. Tapos nakausap din namin agad yung mga clients. They were very understandable about the situation.
Actually, that's a good point na newer companies like us, medyo more on digital software based, hindi na masyadong gumagamit ng mga medyo relic na hardware. It also made it easy for us. Kasi sa amin, nung pumutok yung lockdown, pinauwi ko na agad lahat ng Metro Manila, yung mga taga Metro Manila. So, ang mga taga Pampanga, nag-work from home, everyone works from home. Ako na lang yung pumupunta sa office kasi ako lang yung malakas ng loob na pumunta pa ng office kahit naka-lockdown. Pero, after, I think June, we started na MWF na, and then ngayon, everyday na, and then the office is fully occupied again. So, that's one benefit of being quote-unquote young. Medyo madaling i-scale down yung production, set up ulit sa ibang lugar, yung more on software-based na yun. Just one of the benefits of cloud technology na most of our files nasa at least Google Drive na yan. Hindi na yung imagine kung pumutok yung pandemic noong 1990s. Sobrang baka nagta-tricycle na lang tayong lahat ngayon. Anyway, ayun. Tawag dito. So next question ko. So you had a remarkable business continuity execution / short-term plan and then execution. Mukhang sustainable naman siya hanggang ngayon. As a business owner, did anything change? Kasi tayong business owners, yun, katulad mo, mahilig ka magbasa ng mga business books. And if you're planning to build your own business, people listening in, hindi pwedeng hindi ka nagbabasa. Hindi pwedeng hindi ka kumukuha ng insights sa mga ibang negosyante. Kasi kahit 160 pa yung IQ mo, yung mga bagay na naisip na noon pa, na test na, nasubukan na ng ibang tao at na polish na nila over the years, mas maganda pa business-wise na kopyahin mo na lang yon kesa umisip ka ng bago mong process na hindi pa man subok kahit sobrang talino mo pa. Minsan naman may mga taong ganun ka-gifted that they will revolutionize an industry, pero unless you're Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, I suggest that you don't try to fix what is not broken. Pero that doesn't mean you should innovate. Anyway, going back to my point, like many entrepreneurs have their own principles and beliefs in how they should set a culture, how they should treat employees, how they should invest their money. My question to you, Marge, is, has anything changed sa values and principles mo as a business person because of the pandemic?
Ay, oo. Diyos ko. A lot have changed. Kasi unang-una, yung quarter 1 namin, which is yun nga yung nagka-lockdown, ang ganda pa, kaya pang kontrolin. Sabi ko nga, in my own understanding, level 1 yun ang challenge eh. Level 2 kasi, ito na yung mga nagbawas na ng oras si client, we lost 50% revenue, and then, ano pa yung mga naging challenges na, yung lesson namin doon is, hindi kasi kami agad nagbawas din ng cost. So kasi we believed, ako kasi nurse nga ako, 'di ba? So ako in my own understanding, ang flu kasi mas maraming statistically speaking, mas marami kasi talaga namatay sa flu. So sabi ko, okay, kaya natin to. We got this, ganyan. So sabi ko baka mga 3 months down the road, okay na. Pero we did not predict na magtatagal ng ganito. So sabi ko, nung we held on to the costs, yun yung mistake number 1 namin in 2020. Na dapat nung we had 50% revenue loss, nagbawas din kami ng cost. Nagbawas naman kaming konti, kaya lang hindi talaga siya ganun ka-impacting para, we tried to shoulder everything pa rin. And then, number 2 is, the second lesson that we had, yun nga, with a very, very low cash flow at that time. Ito, may nagtanong kasi doon sa page, doon sa comment, parang si January Tan yata. Hello, kung nandito kayo. Tinatanong niya kasi, yes, the revenue is sexy, the top line number is sexy, but what about the bottom line? Kasi yun naman talaga yung after all, yun talaga yung gusto nating malaman. Correct. And I'll tell you what, nung pre-pandemic, we were at 20 to 22% net profit or EBITDA. And then because we have set aside naman din and all that, after the pandemic we were ranging about almost 10% na lang net profit, and yung profit pa na yun ini-invest namin sa capital expansion. Imagine June July na nagbawas si client ng 50%. Nag-acquire pa kami ng 2 clients. Nag-expand pa kami. So sabi ko, yun yung mga lessons talaga na pag sobrang tight na talaga, always look at your cash flow and look at your projections, kasi ang daming uncertainties nung time na yon, and it was a very, very huge costly mistake on our part. Sabi nga ni June, he always jokes about, isipin mo na lang nag-Harvard ka, yun na lang yung payment dun sa dun sa mga lessons na yon. Okay, sige.
Alam mo, sinasabi ko rin sa sarili ko yan, pero hindi naman pag milyones na yun nakataya. Yung tipong pag may in-order ako sa resto, hindi ako nasarapan, sasabihin ko lang, okay, for 200 pesos, tumalino ako na hindi na ako babalik dyan. pag milyon na ang katapat, ewan ko lang. Parang nag-Harvard ka nga.
Oo, sobrang hindi namin alam kung anong, I mean, at that time talagang, ang dami kasing what ifs eh. Doon kami nag-hold on, what if ganito, what if bumalik sa dati, what if, kasi for the longest time, laging ganun yung iniisip namin. Yung isang account namin, we almost let go of it. Talagang gusto ko nang i-terminate yung contract na yon. Pero sabi ni June, what if, ganun. And true enough, yung what if na yun, that account is already our most income generating na account. Kaya sabi ko, let's give it a try. Ha?
Siya yung sa sports?
No, hindi iba. Ito yung sa AI naman.
Okay. Tawag dito. Sige, let's talk about that, yung capital expansion nyo and onboarding clients in general. You mentioned kanina na telework, pag kumukuha kayo ng client, walang parang advanced payments or security deposit. Sabi ko nga, ang tapang nyo, grabe. Kasi tawag dito, as an SEO service provider, ilang beses na kami tinakbuhan. Minsan, kalahating milyon, yung parang hindi mo naman magulpi yung tao, nasa Australia o nasa parang, anyway, tawag dito, mula nun, ang naging policy na namin is depende sa comfort level namin, 1 or 2 months advance, deductible to your last 2 invoices. Ganun ang ginagawa namin, parang may naka-advance na sa dulo kukunin. Sa inyo mukhang hindi. Pero my question to you is this, syempre magdadagdag ka ng upuan, ng hardware, ng training para sa tao, may cost lahat yan. Who shoulders that? Kayo ba or si client? Pagbago yung client?
Kami. Kami at kaya isa rin 'yan sa mga sobrang costly mistake namin. Totoo yung sinabi mo. Yan din yung common sentiment ng mga execs. Ang lakas ng loob ni telework. Kasi at that time, we closed deals much faster pag walang down payment.
Oo.
Oo, it makes sense naman din kasi. Kaya lang sobrang, and to think na ito pa ang to add dun sa context, net 30 ang mga contracts namin. It means 30 days later, tapos 30 days pa after the invoice was issued, dun pa lang magbabayad, so parang 2 months delay yung payment.
Ganun din sa amin. So,
ayun, no.
Nakakatawa nga minsan pag pinost mo yung account nila after nila makross yung 30 days sila pagalit. Like, si Jan siguro tumatawa na sa background, alam niyo. when you're negotiating with this, yung contracts na yan, what advice would you provide people? I'm not sure if you do the other negotiations. I think yung mga initial accounts nyo, it was June who negotiated in your behalf. Pero pag nakikipag-haggle kayo sa presyo, may mga tips ba kayong mabibigay sa mga entrepreneurs dito na, kasi alam ko yan pag bago, syempre desperate ka pa sa clients pag nag-uumpisa ka pa lang just to get the business going, and minsan papayag ka sa mga sobrang unfair na deals. Lagi ko nga binibigay na example, there's this certain cosmetic e-commerce player, one of the top, if not the top here in the Philippines. We took their traffic from 4,000 to 400,000 a month in a span of 6 months. Tapos 1.8 million after 2 years, 1.8 million organic visits a month. And yung first year namin sa kanila, 35,000 a month lang yung, sabi ko, pinapayaman lang natin tong mga taong to. Pero like, when I look back at it, I just laugh na ganun pala ako ka-desperado nung circa 2014, 2015. Pero syempre, over time, tatalino ka ng konti. Mas may feel ka na kung kailan lang sila empty bluff lang na, hindi na ako tutuloy sa'yo, or tutuluyan talaga nilang di sila magsasign ng contract. So, what are your tips for negotiations?
Totoo yung sinabi mo dun sa pag nag-uumpisa ka, when you, kasi sobrang excited, may client, ganyan, parang as much as possible, ma-close mo yan. And right. during yun nga, kung startup phase, talagang as much as possible, makuha mo lahat ng clients onboarded. Pero yun din yung isa sa mga, kung hindi ka sobrang maingat, like for example, when it comes to numbers, kasi ako personally, kahinaan ko yun I'm more of the communications person. Si Jun talaga yung sa may numbers person. So, we really have to lay it down kasi it doesn't lie. Kung ano talaga yung sinasabi niya, yun talaga yun. So, we meet halfway Most of the time, sa negotiation, like for example, katulad niyan, the client will pay the agents hourly or via throughput. At the same time, meron pang admin costs kasi kailangan yan Otherwise, hindi namin masusustain yung operations, yung HR, yung payroll, yung accounting and all that, yung mga backbone ng company. And dapat instinctively, meron ka ng number in mind na kailangan hindi tayo, our lowest pricing that we can offer is this. Kumbaga ceiling na to or floor price na to. And then from there, syempre tataasan mo pa kasi alam mo naman makikipag-negotiate yan Alam mo makikipagbanggaan sila. But yeah, moving forward, isa rin sa greatest lessons namin is to ask for an advanced deposit or advance payment kasi we can no longer sustain yung new equipment unless meron kang investor talaga. Pero for the most part talaga stockholders nag-sustain yung business
masarap lang bumili ng hardware mag-shopping ng computers ganun, pero pag nakita mo na yung bayarin ibang usapan. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying, siguro sa tip, if it's a new customer, definitely kailangan mong alamin kung kaya niya magbayad. Hindi naman sa pero syempre kailangan you do your due diligence. So as much as possible, don't extend the credit. Siguro let's say for example for the first 3 months, sige, let's do net 10 muna, net 10 or wala muna, advance payment muna para at pag na-establish mo na yung relationship and alam mo na on time to magbayad, then you can go proceed with the net 30. Pero by that time dapat may buffer ka na rin.
Okay. Ako, mag-share din akong tips ko sa negotiation. Like, kukwento ko na lang kung paano yun nangyari, like, the past 2 days. So, there's this client inquiring with us. Ang tagal na nito, on and off na nagtatanong. And then, they're, clue lang. I'm sure some of you can guess who this is. Pero they claim to be the biggest digital media outlet in the Philippines. Anyway, parang sinendan nila ako ng email, uy, request for proposal, ganyan, ganyan. Kung pwede today, wow, within the day, wala akong ginagawang iba, gagawin ko lang yan. Pero pinadalan ko yung sobrang templated lang. Tapos parang purchasing manager na agad yun nakipag-usap, so and so. Sabi ko, ang monthly retainer namin sa websites for Philippines is 60,000. It's standard across your entire conglomerate. Pero gusto nila 50,000 tapos VAT inclusive. And I'm like, dude, that's totally never going to happen. Like, sabi mo nga, may floor price tayo. Sinabi ko naman na sa kanila, hindi kami nagtaas sa group nyo ng retainer this year kahit supposedly may increase. And ang standard talaga namin for everyone else is 75 a month. So, if we lowered it to 60, sobrang discounted na yan. Parang ang sasabihan ka pa ng mga linya na, well, privilege, isang privilege na makipagtrabaho sa amin, magagamit mo kami sa portfolio. And I'm like, please, marami na akong malalaking logo sa client portfolio ko. You don't scare me. Also, I know that you need me more than I need you. Number one, because ang bibilis niyong mag-reply. Ibig sabihin, kailangan nyo na to. Kailangan yung mga maliliit na bagay na yan, ma-pick up nyo agad kung gaano ka-desperado yung kliyente. So, I'm really not gonna budge. And number two, even if I really wanted your account, my entire team is already booked solid. I don't even know where to get people from you. Of course, I'm not telling you this, pero sa loob-loob ko, promise, hindi kita kailangan. Wala man akong tao para sa iyo ngayon. If we close this deal, maghahanap pa ako ng tao, but I'll worry about that later on. The point is, guys, negotiation is always about who has leverage. Like, the more powerful person in any negotiation is the person who is willing to say no. So, in this case, I'm the one who has the power to say no. Sila, they really need it. I don't need it. So, I can dictate terms. However, even when you are in the superior position in a negotiation, that does not mean you have to destroy the person na negotiate mo. Remember, even if you got everything you wanted and that person did not get any term that he or she specified, you still have to wake up tomorrow and work with that person kung na-close mo yan. And paano kung sabi niya, gago ka, dinurog mo ako sa negosasyon, palalagpasin ko ito, pero pag magkatrabaho na tayo, paggagawin kita ng mga kung ano-anong stupid na reports, mga stupid na tasks, yung babawian kanya ng ganyan. Hindi rin maganda. The best possible scenario when you are negotiating is that you get the minimum requirements, as Marge said, yung meron base na income na kailangan nandun to keep the cash flow healthy. Pero number two, pag may mga hinihinging mga bagay yung kliyente, you don't need to acquiesce to everything that the client wants. Pero give him at least one or two things that he is asking for. What you want the person to feel after negotiating with him is that meron siyang nakuha. He wants to feel good. You want him to feel good about himself, and you want him to feel smart about choosing you. Na, good value for money itong nakuha ko na Marge, ganyan. You want that kasi nagfo-foster yun ng goodwill, and that sets the precedent for a healthier relationship moving forward. So, on my end, yun yung tip ko. Unless you have other things to add, Marge.
All good na, yeah. Actually, okay. yung negotiation part kasi it's being done by the business development na namin. So, unless talaga nag-escalate siya, doon na lang kami din nakikialam.
I got it. So, ito ang question ko for this year. A lot of people are starting to feel optimistic about 2021 na may light at the end of the tunnel na possibly dumating na yung mga vaccines sa Pilipinas next month. What is your business outlook for this year?
I would say, for 2021, still watch things happen every single day. Kung pwede nga every single hour, pero OA na syempre. Pero like you, if you're doing business reviews or synergy meetings every week, do it every day. Tapos yung strat plan, instead of yearly or quarterly, do it every month. Kasi ang daming uncertainties. And the only way that we can curb this and mitigate the risk is, of course, we need to be on top of how things are going. Parang volatile na stock market, 'di ba? Minsan nakabantay talaga tayo maghapon magdamag kasi it's the same thing with what's happening nowadays. Ako personally, I can't count how many times we went back to the drawing board para balikan yung strategy namin ng 2020, and I think we will keep doing that in 2021.
Okay. As for me, like ako, meron akong weird na attitude na I think everything is shit until proven otherwise. So by that token, I will continue to assume that 2021 will be a terrible year unless it's not. So ganun lang yung sinasabi ko, like keep expectations low but at the same time keep working hard para yung outcome ma-improve mo and to set it to your favor. So I'm not sure, maybe some of you guys out there, like entrepreneurs in this call, are more optimistic. If that's the case, more power to you. Ako, I always tell my people na we are in this situation probably for the long haul, and the only thing we cannot control a pandemic. The only thing we can control is the quality of our own work and how hard we work for our accounts. So if we do that, half the battle na yung medyo na-cover natin. Yung everything else, bahala na si Duque. Okay.
Naalala ko yung sinabi mo last podcast, yung be a realist. Kasi totoo talaga eh. I can always, sabi ko nga, I can go on and say, we got this, we can survive this. Pero that's not how things are going eh. And it sets the expectations to like, through the roof. Tapos yung mga agents mo were like, akala ko okay pa tayo eh, diba? Parang ganon. So, hirap.
Actually, even when I didn't own my business, when I was still a manager, mahilig kasi yung mga companies, especially big faceless companies na yung mga large corporations na to send out positive press releases and then next week pala retrenchment na ako I'd rather that the people know the situation that they're in, and then kung may mangyari, walang gulatan. And if they leave out of fear na baka yung business is unstable, then that only goes to show who has faith in your business and who will falter with the slightest adversity. You don't need those people anyway. And yun, para sa akin, ganun lang naman. Like, real talk tayo, walang sisihan bandang huli. Kasi at the end of the day, if you do your best, I do my best, we both increase our chances of keeping our jobs. If we don't, and if it happens by no fault of ours, then we can stay friends at the very least. So, ayun. Magwa 1 hour na tayo. So, it's time na for the final Miss Universe type of question. Sabi nga ni Chase, yung interviewer ko last time. So, for any people who want to make the jump from being employees to being entrepreneurs, ano yung ma-advise mo?
Right now, kasi I'm coaching this agency. I act there as their advisor. Share ko lang din, sorry. So the CEO is very, very young, in his about 20s. And kasi when you partner with someone or probably just work with someone, you look at their values first before their growth strategy. Kasi minsan, this could potentially be a really good pero we've heard a lot of stories, yung WeWork CEO being greedy, yung Uber CEO being egotistical, ang daming nag-fail na business because of those, yung mga values nila na hindi nila, or yung mga attitude nila na kailangan i-tame. Pero kasi, what I've learned really is that when you become successful, money will only amplify your values. So if you are already, if you're generous, money will make you even more generous. If you're greedy, money will make you even more greedy. Pero another thing that I would advise is there are lots of millions of people who are excited about starting a journey. In fact, parang naging na ang startup dito sa Philippines, parang it's cool, parang cool kid ka if you're in a startup. But again, there are lots of people who stayed just that. Ando na lang. They were good as starters, never finishers. So it's again, entrepreneurship is all about journey. It's all about exiting and starting a new one. Kaya now I understand kung bakit yung mga, kasi I joined yung Founders Institute, yung startup incubator, kung paano nila pinili yung mga taong papasok dun sa program is they based it on the character, the values, etc. So, yun, that's one of the things na kailangan naintindihan mo na ganito ka, naintindihan mo kung bakit ka ganito before you can even but I mean I'm not saying na hindi ka mag-jump into entrepreneurship. Jump into entrepreneurship, and at the same time, if you feel na kailangan mo may improvement ka sa personality, sa mindset, you work with a coach on that, kasi ang laking sabi ko nga kay Glenn, we have so many mental battles, and sabi ko nga, na-prove ko na resilient pala ako kahit pa paano. Gusto ko na, dumating na ako sa point na gusto ko ihang yung sarili ko lalo na nung last December. Oo, talaga.
Oh my God.
Last December, we have $150,000 floating in the cloud. Hindi namin alam kung saan napunta kasi we're using a transfer service. Hindi ko na lang papangalanan. Pero nawawala yung transaction and people are not being paid yet with their 13th month. So imagine yung stress na parang may mga gusto nang pumunta sa Dole, nagpo-post sa Facebook. Alam mo yun, na parang hindi ko naman kasalanan na yung pera nandun sa cloud. So sabi ko, anong dapat kong gawin? And dun sa situation na yun, I did everything I can para ma-predict steps ahead. Ano yung mga what ifs, anong pwedeng mangyari, Tapos meron pa palang hindi ko na take into account. So talagang ang daming battles mentally, emotionally, and you name it.
John, meron pa tayong questions before we give final thoughts?
Yeah, our very own Peep Warren actually wants to ask a question. If you're still there, Peep, just go ahead.
I'm still here. So, sabihin ko muna na sobrang nag-enjoy ako sa negotiation masterclass tips ninyo. both you and Sir Glenn, Miss Marge. Then secondly, Miss Marge, I really appreciate listening to the human side of all of the challenges that you've been going through sa business development niya. So it was really heartening to listen to those parts of the talk. I would like to ask, is there one thing in terms of sa business culture niya or a certain business milestone you've hit that you're most proud of during this crisis hell year that was 2020? And what is it? I'd love to hear that story from you.
That I'm most proud of? I would say ito talaga, the 2020 year now na we were able to survive this. Yun, as cliche as it sounds, yun talaga kasi alam mo sa totoo lang, when sinend sa akin ni Glenn yung mga questions, when he sent me the questions, I was just going through it, and I'm putting in my mind what I'm going to say. Pero instead of coming up with something, I cried kasi talagang when you go back to the journey, grabe talaga yung pinaghirapan. Pero I mean, that's definitely something na memorable to me, lalo na sa cash flow kasi kahit na we were this, I guess I would say we're big, pero we don't have, when you're in a growth stage of a business kasi you move from that startup hat, now you're catering to a lot of different roles. You move to that specialization, so you hire people who are special, they specialize in those fields. And sa numbers kasi we saw a loophole na walang taong nag-update ng data to make us an informed decision. So we were essentially hitting yung targeting it na wala dun sa and our risk is getting bigger. So yun yung mga sabi ko, I would say this 2020 talaga na we were able to survive this. And I guess another thing to be proud of, because of my values, I got an investor. So yun talaga. nakita niya yung authenticity siguro and all that. Pero sorry, I'm not supposed to. Alam mo yun, hindi pa niya nakita. No, hindi pa niya nakita yung business strategy, hindi pa niya nakita yung growth, hindi pa niya nakita lahat ng numbers. Pero he got attracted because of what I'm showing, what I am, what I truly am. So, yun.
John.
Okay. Thank you very much. Something to be proud of talaga po, ma'am.
John, first time na may pumiyak sa podcast natin.
Nakakahiya.
Yeah, we're breaking
Ano
news
siya?
on this 2021.
Yeah, isang bagay siya na gusto kong ulit-ulitin. So, ang goal natin sa mga next, kailangan paiyakin natin yung mga guests natin. Gusto kong paiyakin si Sir Benj, si Jason, si JP. Anyway, tawag dito. Yeah, like ako rin kung ako yung investor, kung ako yung may perang pwedeng i-invest, hindi na ako titingin masyado sa yung growth pa lang. Medyo sold na ako doon. So, good call on his part. I guess to supplement what Marge said, in terms of how yung mga tips sa starting entrepreneurs, like before you make the jump, isipin mo muna kung kaya ba ng dibdib mo. Like, yun yung pinakamahalaga eh. It's probably the biggest difference between being an employee and being an employer. Kasi sabi nga ni Sir Benj, I remember one of our podcasts, like Sir Benj, alam nyo naman, like world-class talaga yung skills niya sa SEO. Pero nung nasa States siya, pinili niya na magtrabaho sa ibang company and be an employee rather than an employer. Sabi niya, mas madali. And I believe him. Kasi pag employee ka, you go to your job, you do your job, you go home, take it off your mind for the most part, and then do it again kinabukasan. Sa employer, it's a 24/7 commitment eh. Like, sabi nga nung isa kong barkada nung high school na piloto ng PAL ngayon, no, this is not about a story of pilot retrenchment. This is itong kwentong to nung wala pang pandemic. Pilot siya, flights niya, China, US, ganyan. And I told him, may mga time na ba na I asked him, may mga time na ba na piloto ka, parang medyo nasa danger bumagsak yung eroplano pero hindi napansin ng mga tao sa eroplano. Sagot niya, sobrang bilis, hindi pa tapos yung tanong ko. Sabi niya, oo, marami na. Sabi niya, ganyan sa akin. So, naisip ko, ilang beses na kaya nangyari sa akin yun sa mga flight ko. Tapos, it made me realize na as an entrepreneur, especially if you're a CEO or one of the top guys, it's kind of like that. People in GDI probably have no idea. Hindi naman sobrang dami, pero there might have been a couple of times na iniisip ko parang medyo bleak na yata, baka hindi kayanin ng ganito, ganyan. Pero, sometimes things just fall into place. Sometimes it's just the entrepreneur overthinking it. Pero if you're going to be an entrepreneur, circling back to what Marge said about what she's proud of, you have to care about people. There are bad entrepreneurs naman who can be successful and they don't give two shits about their people. Sometimes that can work. Pero I can imagine any other way of doing business na you don't care about the livelihoods of your people. Kasi, kumbaga, yun, may warning line yan eh, sa mga nagbabasa ng manga, sa Naruto, na parang sinabi nila kay Naruto na, from the moment you became this, your life is no longer just your own. It's the same way about CEOs, even managers. The decisions that you make in life will have ripple effects on your people. So, yung responsibility is no longer just to yourself, and it extends to everyone in your organization. If you think you can handle yung responsibility na yon, tsaka yung 24/7 mental torture, hindi naman puro mental torture, may mga highs and lows yan, pero yung 24/7 na thinking about your business, then you might become a good entrepreneur. Pero if you cannot be bothered with that and you can earn a decent living na working for someone else, then by all means, sabi nga nung kaibigan ko, like, who's also been a businessman for the longest time, si Raymond, kaysa naman masira yung ulo mo, wag mo na lang piliting maging negosyante. Kung mai-stroke ka na lang o atakin ka, wag na lang, makipamasukan ka na lang. Pero kung kaya mong tanggapin, at kaya mong i-tune out yung negosyo paminsan-minsan,
Kaya mo
baka
sumuka.
pwede. Correct. Ayaw kitang ilaglag about that, Marge. I will keep that conversation between me and Sir Jun. So, ayun. Anything else, Marge? Parting thoughts to the people as we close?
We actually have
Parang
one
naubos.
pahabol question.
May
meron
habol
pa.
question daw.
Oh yeah,
When you
from Monel Espiritu. Hi, Miss Marge. When you say you hire for attitude, how do you usually gauge attitude before hiring an employee?
Oh my God, this is very very common. Sabi ko nga kaya kami nasa BPO hiring talaga is Pero Monel, ako I started with myself kung gaano ako ka-confident about, especially instinctively, when you talk to that person, alam mo na kung ano yung potential niyang maging. You ask the right questions. Hindi siya literal like say, sige, when you are in this scenario, ano yung magiging response mo. And then that will tell you a lot kasi but then again, there is a notion tayo na sinasabing hire the right people. But really, how you develop them is what matters the most. So, if you're unsure, siguro say 50-50 ka talaga and you want to see things out, hire mo siya, but you also have to be courageous enough to terminate that person when shit hits the fan. Kasi that person is not gonna help you in your company. Pero in between those moments, feedback talaga is very, very important, and real-time feedback, communication, napakagasgas. Pero if you think about it kasi, if that person doesn't know kung ano yung gusto mong gawin niya, that person will not evolve into something else unless talagang that person is not the right fit or talagang manhid na siya at hindi na siya nakikinig sa mga coaching mo. Yun na yung may problema tayo. Pero most of the time, I would say 80% of the time, the people will evolve, the people will change, the people will agree to, not really agree, but the people will definitely work kung how you communicate the feedback, how this performance is with that person.
Ako may dalawa akong tips para dyan kay Mon. Yung una, pinag-uusapan pa lang namin ng head ng CEO, ng SEO dito sa team kahapon, si Carla. Sabi ko, Carla, next time na mag-interview ka, tanungin mo straight up with a straight face, are you an asshole? Tanungin mo lang. Pag sinabi niya, syempre, sasabihin nila hindi. Para pag nagloko siya, habang empleyado mo na siya, sabi, binidyohan kita, sabi mo, hindi ka asshole. Pangalawa, tawag dito, eto, mas seryoso na to. Tama yung sinabi ni Marge, kailangan may courage ka na i-terminate yung tao. Actually, to do it legally in the Philippines, it's a little hard, maraming paperwork. Kaya yung contracts namin, structured this way. Usually, first 3 months namin, contractual. Para kung abnormal talaga yung tao, tapos hindi mo na sense nung interview, first 3 months pa lang, pwede mo i-end yung contract niya. Wala nang maraming paperwork, walang legal liabilities. Goodbye na, sir. Pero pag tumungtong na yan ng probationary, 4th, 5th, and 6th month, kailangan mo nang i-justify sa gobyerno kung bakit hindi mo i-regular yung tao. Kaya bago siya tumawid into being probationary, kailangan talaga pinag-isipan mo na ng mabuti yan. Lalo pa kung regular na. Pero yun, dapat strong talaga yung documentation nyo ng handbook, have everyone sign off on it. Di naman dapat by the book palagi. Minsan pwede kang medyo palagpasin naman eh. Pero at the end of the day, kung talagang hindi fit yung tao, sabi nga, the most cruel thing you can do to a person if you know he's not the right fit for the company is to retain him and to feed him false hope na aayos pa yung sitwasyon mo. The right thing to do is to let that person go so he or she can get on with their lives and then find an employer na tama sa kanila. Baka kasi destiny ng taong yan, maging entrepreneur, katulad ni Marge, katulad ko, na hindi masyadong nag-fit sa mold ng corporate dati. Maaring ganun yun. Hindi mamamatay yan, promise, kung i-terminate mo siya. At kung magpakamatay man siya, problema niya yon, hindi mo problema yon. So, ayun.
Nakikipag-break up lang, no?
Ganun talaga. And that's a story for another day. Okay. So, ayun.
Something, Sir Glenn.
Meron pang question?
I'll just like to add my own answer then. Kasi I feel like, as you know, medyo mas directly involved ako sa hiring lately sa content team namin sa Searchworks.
By the way, guys, before you go on, John, si John pala yung pinaka-kupal na hiring manager sa amin. Siya yung sa kanya pinakamahirap pumasa.
Axe person.
I'll take that as a compliment because I like to maintain our high editorial standards when it comes to our content. But I just wanted to answer Monel's question like this. If you're the hiring manager, try to give the applicant question that's framed as a choice. Because I'll give a more specific example. We recently had an applicant where Ms. May Demandal, Glenn's wife, basically asked the applicant because the pass was a conditional. So we were trying to have a question wherein you didn't quite make it to the article writing exam. Would you be okay with trying to write category descriptions and product descriptions instead? And the answer we got was something to the tune of, kahit ano, wala naman ako pake, kahit ano bigay niya sa akin. And, try to, that already gave us a clue that this person might not be who we're looking for. Because, okay, so what you're showing us is indifference, and that you might not care that much about what you'll end up doing for us. So what does that say about what we can expect from you?
Exactly.
That's my thoughts on that.
On
that note, I think we're good for the questions, sir.
Okay. So Marge, thank you ulit, and best of luck sa Telework PH. I know you guys can do it, like with your brain trust, si June, si Lynn, and you, the rest of the team, sina Ruben, yung mga ko dyan, friends ko dyan. I'm sure 2021 will be better for you guys. So ayun, thank you so much in behalf of everyone in this call. A recorded version will come out and be published on my blog para kung gusto mong edit out ko ba yung umiyak ka.
Okay lang yun, hayaan mo na.
Okay. Sige. So in behalf of everyone in this call, again, this is Glenn Mandal, saying thank you to Marge for her time and her insights, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.